Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound.
Hey everybody, it's James here from GoodGuitarist.com, and in today's lesson I'm going to show you an easy way to play Sound of Silence by Simon Garfunkel. This tune consists of a really simple intro melody, which you literally just hold down one fret and, pluck a couple strings. And then there's some chords and strumming. The chord shapes are all really basic chord shapes. I'll show you easy ways to play them all. We can work on the transitioning. The strumming pattern is incredibly simple. The one really tricky part with this song is keeping track of how many times to strum each chord for. And I've come up with a really easy way to illustrate that you could write down on a piece of paper in 10 seconds and you'd be able to play through this song correctly every single time. If you need any help along the way, I have a free ebook covering all the basics of chords and strumming. So the chords, the chord switching, the strumming, and a few other things that are essential for any beginner to know. It's completely free for all my subscribers. There's a link down below for that. And I also have a complete beginner's course, which guides you through the process from start to finish, from absolute beginner to confident strummer. So please check those out if you need any extra help. There's links down below. Otherwise, we're going to get started with the chord shapes. First, we have a G chord, then A minor, and then F. And we're going to play it this easy way. You could play an F bar chord if you're into that, or from the A minor shape, we leave down our first finger, then we put our middle finger on the second fret of the G string, our pinky on the third fret of D, and then our ring finger just above it on the third fret of the A string. My thumb is going to lightly touch the thickest string just to make sure it doesn't ring out. Not essential, but definitely helpful. So from thickest to thinnest, mute, 3, 3, 2, 1, and then mute. And then finally a C chord. And we're going to be pivoting between the C chord and that easy F. So I want you to notice that this finger and that finger, our first and third finger, are the same on both those chord shapes. So we can just switch between them pretty easily just by moving our middle finger and adding our pinky and then switching back. So, try that out if you're not familiar with that little trick to go between C and F. And when we're playing with the recording later, we would put a capo on the 6th fret and we would do all that up here. But I want to do this lesson in the open position just in case you don't have a capo. It's a really cheap and really useful tool for anybody who wants to, strum and sing songs, especially because it lets you change the key of the song just by popping it on there. And then all of a sudden, the song will suit your voice. If you have a crazy voice and you can sing in any key, you don't need a capo. But, if you're like me and you need to find that perfect spot, I do recommend grabbing one. I don't sell them. I'm not affiliated with it in any way. I just know that with my students, they're always a really useful tool. Anyways, we have our chord shapes. Now, we're going to talk about the strumming pattern. It's really simple. We just play. It's just down, down, up. If we were to count it out, 1 and 2 and. So downstrokes on the numbers on 1 and 2, and then an upstroke on the and. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So get comfortable with that. I would get it up to about that pace. And if you need extra help with strumming, I have tons of tutorials on this channel. I have a playlist that I'll put down below, and my complete beginner's course, which helps you build up your rhythm from scratch. You know, there's clapping exercises and all this stuff that we do before we even touch the guitar, just so we can have that internal sense of rhythm. And then it's just a matter of adding downstrokes and upstrokes, you know, once we get the guitar in our hands. Anyways, we have our strumming pattern, we have our chord shapes. Now let's slowly put this song together. I've divided it into 4 sections. The first section, we go between G and A minor, and we play each of those with our strumming pattern 4 times. So I'm going to do it now. You can always just watch, see what happens, and then rewind it and try it with me afterwards. Starting on G. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 times, 4 times, then 4 times on A minor. 2, 3, 4. So that's really straightforward. We did our strumming pattern 4 times on G, 4 times on A minor. Now for the next part, we're going to be switching between F and C. We're going to do it 1 time on F, 3 times on C, then 1 time on F, and 2 times on C. So I'm going to play through it. You can always just watch, see what happens, try it with me after. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2. And now the third part, we start off doing F 4 times. We do our strumming pattern 4 times on F, then 3 times on C, and then we do it 1 time on A minor and 1 time on C. So this part also feels very irregular. We'll start out just by counting it out with our strumming pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1. And now the fourth part is pretty straightforward. We do 2 times on G, 4 times on A minor. 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So work on the progression broken down into those 4 little chunks. And when you're ready, we can try putting the whole thing together. I'm going to put up some visuals for you to make it as easy as possible to tell where you are in this tune. Because it is tricky, you know, it's not just like 4 beats of this, 4 beats of that. This one has a lot of irregular time things, so it's really important to keep track of how many times you're playing the strumming pattern over each chord shape. Starting off on G. 1, 2, 1. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. 2, 3, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. Cool, so that's the majority of the tune. We just have a couple other things to look at. First is that intro melody, and to play it, it's really simple. We just have to press down the 2nd fret of the G string. So that's the G string, then the thinnest string, the B string, and then the high E string again. So we just play that a few times, and then we end on the G string, you know. Hello, darkness, my old. And later when you're doing that with the capo, wherever you put the capo on, you know, they would do it on the 6th fret, but you could put it somewhere else depending on where your singing voice, where it feels comfortable for you. But let's say we're on the 6th fret. You're going to put your finger 2 frets higher than the capo.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
And the other thing that we need to take a look at are a couple of timing things. You know, we play through this chord progression 5 times, and the 3rd time we do it, there's a couple extra words in there, so he has to play a couple of the chords 1 extra time or 2 extra times. So we're on the 3rd, paragraph of lyrics, the one that goes, and in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. And then when we get to this line, people talking without speaking. At the end of this one, we're going to play C 1 extra time, like this. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs. So we just played C, 1 extra, down, down, up. And then the 4th time we go through the chord progression, in the part right after that, the part where it goes, but my words, like silent raindrops, fell. We play the C chord 1 extra time there as well. And then finally, the 5th time we do the progression, we add extra bits of C in both those spots. So I'll just play through the last half of the 5th run through the whole progression. And the sign flashed out its warning in the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls and whispered in the sounds. I may have messed up the lyrics there, but that's how many times we play it. So there's those little variations, just watch out for those. Otherwise, this one's pretty straightforward. We play our little intro melody, and then you play through the entire song, and then we end it with that melody. So at this point, I recommend going through this lesson again, getting really comfortable with all the different components of this song, and then printing out the lyrics and listening to the original recording. That's the best way to get that sense for where you are in the song. I've written out some roadmaps that show you how many times to play each chord for within this lesson. You can always just write those out on a piece of paper, and then you have essentially how to get through this song from start to finish. If you do want to practice with me from start to finish, I have a video on my Patreon page where I do exactly that. It has the chords, the melody, everything. We go through the entire song start to finish just like it is on the recording. That's exclusive for members of my Patreon page. There's a link down below for that. And if you need help with the components, don't forget there's my free ebook covering everything about rhythm guitar, my complete beginner's course, which is a guided tour through that entire process from absolute beginner to confident strummer. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to help support the channel. Otherwise, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.